is having a really hard time getting a roofer. And yes, he said it was his fault. He should have just sent a quick message that the roofer was going to be there Saturday. Now, he didn't, and, he should have, but it's not like he has to ask permission. Because
No, that wasn't the issue. Nobody stated that he needed to ask me for permission. We typically and generally...
Let me finish talking.
Go ahead.
So, he is the maintenance supervisor. He does not work under you or Selena.
That's
or
not
anybody else.
confused. That's not a confusion.
He works under, let's see, I'm the regional and everybody works under me. But there's certain things that he does that he doesn't really need to go through us to get permissions or whatever it is that he needs to do. He answers to Don most of the time. And that's what he has to answer to. I oversee what he does. Just to kind of get that clear. I just don't want no misunderstandings with staff or whose job is who. Yes, you are the property manager at Alvarado. I have had so many complaints, it's not even funny. I haven't talked to Don, I haven't talked to anybody. Because when I asked you the last time, you said all tenants are liars. That's exactly what you told me, and you didn't care what they said or emails. You told me that, but you didn't care, which is fine. But we do have to care because we have to have that customer service, and I know that you work a little bit different than how we work. But it's incredible. I've never had so many complaints in my life as to that you yell at them. We can't be yelling at them. They're not, they're not our, let's say, they don't live with us or whatever. But we shouldn't be yelling at them. If they're doing something that they're not supposed to, first of all, yes, we have the lease violations. Maybe they don't respect them or whatever. So then we set another one. But we have to communicate with them. There's a lot of changes that are coming now, effective March 1st, that gives the residents a lot more rights than what they have now. And I'm dealing with all of this, having to get phone calls, emails, and if you're not recording, that's fine. I'm glad that you're not. I respect that. But I was just asking a question, not for you to get defensive with me.
I'm not getting defensive, at all, Maria, and I have no reason to be, but what I must address is any false attempt, especially on this recorded phone call, to create or in any way construct some sort of false narrative. Now, if you have information stating, number one, that you're yelling at people, that is nothing that you have ever brought to my attention, and this is something that you are now mixing in with what are anonymous phone calls that you're supposedly getting about me recording people when I have had no confrontations with anyone. You have brought nothing to my attention, including Carlo himself, the maintenance supervisor who you said had, I was recording him. At what point in our conversation on Saturday when he was here and we had a conversation face to face, at what point was I recording him? So you're talking, all I'm saying, Maria, with all due respect, Maria, let me finish my sentence, because it does matter as the regional. Well, you are in what you're doing. This is not just a matter of you asking me a question. You are throwing in a lot of random information which is unsubstantiated. First of all, I never said that all tenants are liars. Second of all, who is it that I've yelled at? You're including that in this conversation and accepting it, making it a part of your conversation as though it is fact, and it's not. And it's something that I have never heard about until today. In fairness, if you have an accusation or a complaint about me, it's something that you should immediately address with me. If it's something that you're receiving in writing, then it's something that you should bring to my attention. Go ahead.
I told you, I got an email from one of the market units. You told me they're all liars, and you told me that you didn't care what they said.
No, that's not what I said. So if you're going to quote something that I said, then I suggest that you quote it accurately.
I don't record people when I talk to them on the phone calls or stuff. I don't record because I feel that people are, usually they're truthful, and I think with me, at least they're truthful. I'm going to say the truth.
Like I said, you are falsely quoting what I said. I'm not going to argue with you, but I know exactly what I said, Maria. I said tenants lie. That's not saying all tenants are liars. That's not the same thing, and it's not the same sentiment. So my communication in stating that, you've been given information that, again, you did not elaborate on. Why would I obsess about that? Why would I be concerned about it, especially when I know that I didn't do anything wrong?
You know what? We're going to sit down and we're going to meet. I leave Friday. I won't be back for 2 weeks, so I have a class on the 27th, so maybe we should meet on the 28th.
And meet about what?
We're going to have a formal meeting.
About what?
We need to talk. To let me talk when I do talk, because you talk over me. So I don't get to tell you, what I'm supposed to tell you. And I'm just asking you a question. Are you recording, yes or no? You already said no.
Right.
I'm fine with it. That's all it is to it.
That's not the truth, though, Maria. That's not the truth. And you get very, very upset. You get very, very upset as I throw back factual information, but I can't help that. This is not.
That's how I see it.
No, the thing. Go ahead.
Yes, I get it. Because maybe I can't communicate as effectively as you can, but we need to sit down and we need to talk and we need to retrain.
Retrain on what? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Retrain on what?
On work, on how we're supposed to work, all of us together at work, the IRs and everything else. I'm talking about retraining. So we're going to sit down and we're going to start training.
Okay, so now we're talking about my inability to do the recertification paperwork?
There's a lot of things, and I have to go, I work 12 hours a day, which you don't see that because you...
Right. Let's stay focused on this, though, Maria. Let's not go off on a tangent. What you're stating, right?
I have not sat down to talk to you.
What issues? Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to be distracted. With all due respect, you are the regional, and when you make certain comments that tend to suggest one thing, especially when it is false, I am going to ask that you elaborate on that. Now, when you're stating that you want to have a conversation, now you go from asking me if I am recording people and not giving me any names. Who was stating that? Because it's preposterous. Who is it that I've had a confrontation with? So the answer is no, I'm not recording people. And I haven't had any conversations with people to that end. Who is it that's stating that? This is mysterious to me. Secondly, I have what is a maintenance supervisor that is fully capable of talking about everything else and didn't say anything about my recording him. And you're speaking on his behalf. You're stating that you're only asking a question. I'm giving you an answer. Thirdly, when now you're talking about, well, we need to have a meeting about what? Are you suggesting now that I am not doing my job? Because I have been doing my job. Every aspect of it. What is it that is not to your satisfaction now? What is it about the IRs? I just completed another one this morning. What do we need to meet about? Because nothing about it is intricate or difficult.
We're going to sit down. We're going to have a meeting on the 28th.
We who?
We're going to talk about retraining, and then we're going to talk about if there's any other issues that I need to talk to you about.
Okay, you're talking about just me, right?
Excuse me?
You're talking about just me, right?
Well, I mean, we can have a whole staff there, but I think this is just between you and me that for retraining, it's just you and me. It's at the office at Alvarado Garden. Customer service or whatever it is, if you have any other questions, you can always ask.
No, I don't have any questions, and I have not been in any way asking you any questions because I fully understand my position. Any questions that I do have, I put them in writing because, as I've stated in writing, you have a tendency to restate what it is that you want me to do. I'm not confused about what my job is.
Okay, so anyway, we'll meet February 28th. And then we'll probably drive up there probably at 10 a.m.
Uh-huh.
As I have to input all my annual research, and which is like, it really takes a lot of time. And I'm the only one that does stuff. Not because I cannot delegate, but because it's under my...
That's fine, Maria. I don't have an issue with that.
I know, but yeah.
My question is...
Months that don't have a lot of work, but there's months that we do have a lot of work.
Okay, so I do want to...
The worst month for Syracuse, but I do my job.
Okay, that's fine. I want to focus on why you called me and what you're making a conversation with me about. So let me just ask you one more question. I'm sorry. You stated that I'm yelling at tenants. Who did I yell at?
Same tenant. Does you yell at her when
Who?
You see her?
Who?
She wants to remain anonymous.
Oh, okay. So you're making an accusation. You're making an accusation that I'm right. You're making an accusation, and they want to remain anonymous, though, right?
Tell me, and I'm gonna ask her, and if she wants to meet, I'll ask her to meet with us, but I will let you know ahead of time because I need to resolve this, and I need to let her understand that. Maybe you weren't yelling at her. Maybe we were just talking. Maybe you were being a little bit louder.
I'm not going. Yeah, no. So what I'm not going to do, and what I find to be unprofessional, and I also find it to be unfair. So how you're the regional. So what I can't do, and what I won't do is tell you how to do your job or how to dip. Or how to handle, excuse me, Maria, excuse me. This is a recorded phone call, and I have a right to address what are false accusations. Not only is it false, but you are denying me the ability to even know who is making such a false accusation. And you include it on this day when you want to ask me whether I'm recording someone. Why is it that you did not bring this accusation of me yelling to someone up before? Now you're bringing it up after I tell you, no, I'm not recording anyone. I find that to be very interesting. And so with all due respect, I'm going to address that, and I have a right to do so. So I will state that whoever it is, I'm not concerned about that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do what you need to do, Erica.
I am.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye. Alrighty, that is a third-party group stalker. Her name is Maria Solis Alvarez. She is a third party that is monitoring, and she's engaged in what is workplace harassment and terrorism and monitoring with the entity that is documented as of moments ago here at Alvarado Gardens, and also while I was at Duarte Park Apartments, which is where she's located. Duarte Park Apartments is also a property, a property that Speaker Companies, Ted Speaker, and Speaker Companies is managing over. They're monitoring also at Duarte Park Apartments, where I was subject to the same criminal system. It is currently 8:43 a.m., and this is a third party who is aware of the fact that they're being documented. So this is occurring under the guise of, oh, I got a complaint from a third party who wants to remain anonymous. Whether she gives me their name or not, it doesn't matter. You're understanding what is harassment by the entity that's being documented. The entity engages in harassment directly, where the state engages in what is acts of retaliation while it knows that I'm documenting it, such as stalking, group stalking, amplifying helicopter activity, which is reasonably construed as a threat while you are monitoring and group stalking. You have the entity itself, which is my employer. Speaker Companies is a third party, a corrupt company that's engaged in facilitation and criminal group stalking and monitoring with the state, with the entity itself. These employees are acting in conformity to that pattern of conduct, which is harassment. The third parties that live here are monitoring their group stalking. They are engaged in the pattern of conduct where I am in no way holding a camera up to their face. They are all outwardly conducting themselves as though they're going about their business right, the least concerned, and I am in no way speaking directly to them. I said hi this morning to Tiffany while I have my phone in my hand. She has her phone in her hand also. I could be talking to anyone. I'm dealing with them in what is their malicious reality. And then what is so paradoxical is how they then come back and say, oh, well, you're recording me. Well, how is it that I'm recording you? When was it that I was recording you? Because we never had a conversation and there was nothing nothing to that effect. If I was recording you at that moment, why wouldn't you say something? If this is what you suggest, if this is what you suspect, you're talking about a third party who's in a position of, and this is again, the false guise under which they are exercising authority. She is going to be deported upon federal prosecution. I suspect that she's not a natural born citizen. She is monitoring under the guise of an employer, which is a third party, doing so with the state that was amplifying audible activity while she was on the phone. This is a communication of a threat. The entity does that also while I'm in communication with her, sending emails to her. When she gets upset about something that I correct her on respectfully, the entity will amplify helicopter activity out of the office. In the same way that you noticed, or that I pointed out yesterday, as I'm writing out my notes and documenting and taking pictures, the entity immediately starts to sound helicopter activity, engaged in real-time knowledge of what it is that I am documenting. This is documented as what is harassment by an entity that is hostile to its exposure and to its documentation. It is literally the entity seeking to interfere and stop the documentation of its criminal conduct. This is what is the coward. That is the public entity. Alvarado Gardens is a third-party facilitating venue. The video that I just captured today, it includes Tiffany Sherez walking in the directed light. She is literally walking in the phenomenon that is light manifesting in the shade, while in the middle of the parking lot, she is group stalking on camera, doing so in operation of a communication device with impunity. She does so with her minor children, who are both not only in her custody, but I've also documented them literally group stalking with her. She is posing a threat not only to the life of a target individual while she does so with the state, acting directly via the Los Angeles Police Department. She does so with children and threatening their safety as well. Engaging in this criminal conduct with the government against a targeted individual that is being threatened, harassed on a constant basis, and tormented on a constant basis. You are talking about what is a highly unstable and highly malicious P.O.C. that you are also including children in. I want to be clear, she is in custody of 3 minor children, while with whom she also engages in the P.O.C. This is what these notes say. Tiffany Sherez is in her apartment 1818-3. She is engaged in what is acting with impunity while she is seen monitoring all of the evidence of being a group stalker, and monitoring, including the presence of the Los Angeles PD, is present in that video, and it is not the first time that she's been documented as such. Tiffany Sherez is going to federal prison. She is also speaking a Section 8 recipient, federal housing assistance recipient, you are losing such benefits upon prosecution. If you are engaging in what is this sort of system on the property, you're talking about Alvarado Gardens as a participant in that housing program, you're upon prosecution, criminal and civil, losing the ability to participate in such a program because they're engaged in criminal conduct with a public entity, which is a matter of documentation. Again, dealing with Maria Solis Alvarez, a third-party group stalker who is employed by a third-party speaker companies. The company itself is a third party. The employee itself is a third party, and she is engaged in what is documented harassment and what is under the federal prosecution. She's also engaging in what is harassment at a federal level while she is group stalking and monitoring and seeking to obstruct the ability to document, whether or not you're dealing with them in their malicious environment. No, I'm not documenting. What are you talking about? Right? Outside, I'm not monitored. They're not monitoring. I'm not documenting either. Not documenting. I'm certainly not holding a camera in anyone's face. I'm certainly not doing anything outside of what is holding my phones like they do. This is the pattern of conduct by the people of the state and by the state itself. This is no small thing. You're talking about the intent to obstruct a federal investigation where the entity is monitoring you. All right, Maria Solis is going to federal prison. All right, if she's not deported. That's speaking to what is an intolerable level of obstruction, seeking to oppress, seeking to incite fear, seeking to intimidate, and using her position to do so as the employer themselves, facilitation of criminal monitoring, group stalking, engaging in what is facilitation of I'm sitting in the office as I document Todd's speaker, as I document the fact that he is, by virtue of his property, being used as well-documented third-party facilitating venue where criminal conduct by a corrupt public entity is ceaselessly underway and documented not only on the grounds but inside of my private residence. And then you have your employees, which are documented group stalkers, harassing, because that's what that is, while they are making what he could have addressed to my face, which would have been, again, unfounded because nobody's holding a camera to his face. Nobody's saying, hey, Carlo, what are you doing over? Oh, no. While they are maliciously monitoring, I am in the same way gathering the evidence. I can hold my phone all I want. You're talking about those who are psychopaths who know exactly what you're documenting and seek to obstruct justice in doing so. That's a whole other federal charge. Understand that. This is why I'm documenting Maria Solis. All of that was audible activity. She's monitoring me while she is seeking to obstruct justice and and a psychopath that knows what you're doing and engages in a conversation, which again, I'm dealing with them both in this malicious reality as an employee, and she's making false accusations. She can't stay on subject. She can't even explain what it is that she's talking about. And then she wants to try and then evolve into, oh, we need to have a meeting about an IR. IRs are relevant to these Section 8 processes, which are, it's not rocket science, whatever. It's whatsoever. It's nothing difficult, nothing that there have been any questions about. Something that I completed again this morning with third-party Vanessa Dries of 1812 number 5. And she is reaching, in other words, seeking to manufacture some sort of issue as to what she called me about, when she could have just asked me, did you record anybody? The answer is no. Move on to the next thing. She's getting upset. She's getting emotional. She's raising her voice, all of which understand you're not only analyzing the substance of what she's saying, obstruction of justice. This is a third-party group stalker who is monitoring and using the position that she holds to obstruct justice and harass, while she is doing so on behalf of an entity that is literally documented as flying around and harassing and group stalking while I'm on the job at Alvarado Gardens and subject to this this criminal system that is harassment and threatening and tormenting at an unprecedented level. I want to be clear again. Carlo Lopez is the one who's documented crossing path on tape. Carlo Lopez is the one who has on multiple occasions engaged in what is threatening my life, engaged in what is unlawful intimidation and harassment and threatening group stalking and criminal monitoring with the Los Angeles Police Department, which I caught on Saturday. And you have what is me standing on a whole other side of the building in that video, and he's assuming that I'm capturing him, and I'm giving that to him because there was no conversation, in the same way that I'm not making an assumption that he's recording me while he's holding up his phone. He has no reasonable grounds to assume, and again, I'm giving that to him because at no point at me holding my phone are you reasonably assuming that I'm recording you. So me standing there outside and being on my phone, if you're not uber concerned about what it is that I'm doing, I could be on video chat talking just like Tiffany Sherez was while she's walking in directed light and relevant position while the Los Angeles Police Department is group stalking above in the sky space. She is being documented and is well covered all the hallmarks for the pattern of conduct conduct. She is in custody of minor children while she does so. She acts with impunity in doing so, and she acts as though one who is excited and literally waiting to go to federal prison. Those are the very malicious actors who pose a threat to the life of the target individual, and then doing so while using what is somebody that is in a position, and I put this in air quotes, authority to seek to harass and intimidate while you document and enforce your rights against a public entity that's monitoring you, and doing so while you are on the job. Okay, understand all of that, which I just documented. Again, her name is Maria Solis Alvarez. Her information is published to the Google Drive. You're talking about what is criminal monitoring. Everything in that conversation, you can simplify all of that. She's monitoring its audible activity. The entity is monitoring. I've shown you the light source, which remains all day, and directed light remains inside of my office at all times. The entity is engaged in what is a ceaseless pattern of conduct, which is highly malicious. Maria Solis Alvarez is a proponent for federal prosecution and federal prison by virtue of the malice with which she engages in this pattern of conduct. It is currently 8:53 a.m., and this is a lengthy video, but this is necessary. It's relevant context for what the ordinary targeted individual is faced with when they are enforcing their rights against a corrupt government. I am doing so not only at the place of business where I work, but I live at my place of business, which is a facilitating venue. The employer itself is a third party, Speaker Companies Incorporated. The apartment complex itself is a facilitating venue, Alvarado Gardens Apartments. Every single last resident has been, their information has been uploaded on a list to the Google Drive. You have what is their license plates, which has been uploaded to the Google Drive. They are all engaging in what is on that video. Iris Carnero of 1806 #1 is group stalking on video. That's called impunity. Doing so with the Los Angeles Police Department is grounds of federal prison. She's in custody of minor children as well. She's a Section 8 recipient. You're talking about Tiffany Sherez again, cross group stalking and monitoring. These are threats that the people of the state shall not get away with. That is harshly prosecuted under federal law. They sit in federal prison for that. You have what is Maria Solis Alvarez, who is a psychopath, okay? Which the people, you're going to understand through the demented environment that they're targeting you, through the demented methods of activity creation, through the demented act of group stalking in the first place. You're understanding what a psychopath is. This is a psychopath that's asking a question, the answer of which she already knows. She knows very well that the entity is being documented. She is asking a question and seeking to use that information at whatever level she can in their malicious reality, where there is no group stalking, where there is no criminal monitoring, where there is no documentation of that fact, in order to try to use it. And that's what you're seeing me approach, dealing with them at their malicious level. She is trying to manufacture, and this is what I must address because these are recorded phone calls, and you're not going to manufacture information against me and in any way try to falsely suggest that I'm not doing my job. I am doing well above my job. I'm overqualified for this job, and I'm subject to what is an unprecedented level of harassment and terrorism and criminal monitoring while I'm on the job, handling a lot while I'm on the job. Okay, so I want to be clear. Everybody that's giving complaints, she's referencing third parties. All right, everybody that's saying I'm yelling, understand she's not answering that question. They want to remain anonymous. Understand the goal and shifting from asking that question about am I recording to, oh, I'm getting so many complaints about you yelling. All right, so this is somebody that is seeking to manufacture, create a narrative. It is malicious. She's going to federal prison, period. I want to document this, though. I'm going to sue Todd Speaker. I'm going to sue Speaker Companies. I'm going to sue the state of California, and I'm going to also criminally prosecute. This is relevant for what is, again, under the system of federal group stalking and monitoring, what Speaker Companies, what Maria Solis Alvarez, Carlo Lopez, Selena Robledo, position that I hold here, being subject to the system, this is workplace harassment and terrorism by an entity. This is an escalated, never contemplated level of harassment that you are dealing with, where the entity itself, your employer, your co-workers, your so-called superiors, but this is all fallacy. The system, the prosecution of this system is speaking to what is somebody exercising fictitious authority, acting highly maliciously, in a highly malicious manner. This is something that's going to be relevant to their prosecution. But this is what you're dealing with, all right? So there is the understanding the substance of what I'm documenting and the purpose for it. It is currently 8:56 a.m. and the entity is maintaining a light source here at Alvarado Gardens while I am surrounded with what is engineered light. In no way any sort of iteration of sunlight that would ever occur. And it is also a fact, a scientific one, readily provable and already understood in any court of law that the sun does not remain remain at one address or over one address, or in its zenith and aiming sunlight into the same building or address from any angle where it's at for the duration of a day. And as I have documented here at Alvarado Gardens, the address being 1800 North Alvarado Street, Los Angeles 90026, for an excess of 8 hours. All right. And so you have what is indeed the pattern of conduct. And this is in conformity to the well-documented pattern of conduct that I captured in outside of Los Angeles County, the Fontana Police Department, the Pomona, the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, the Pomona Police Department, I believe. You have the Montclair Police Department, the Chino Police Department, the Ontario Police Department, surrounded by the same exact pattern of conduct, engaging in what are multiple aspects of seeking to harass while you document an entity. Understand, she's not speaking as an individual. This is the state. She's a third-party group stalker. All right. And so this is, again, they are exploiting what is a fallacy. She is not speaking as a regional, an individual. No, she is speaking as the entity. The third party, Speaker Companies is a third party. Maria Solis Alvarez is a third party. This is the state who is monitoring you and then abusing that position in this contract that you have as an employee, but you don't have a right to monitor me. You don't have a right to monitor me on the job. You also don't have a right to obstruct justice and stop the target individual from documenting that. And that's the reality. I am able to further articulate the malicious reality that they are in. All right, and explain how the false narrative that they seek to create, the malice with which they act, in other words. All right, but the reality is, wherever you are, wherever the entity is doing, the entity has no privacy. The entity has no right to obstruct justice and stop you from documenting. The entity has no grounds whatsoever to stop you, and that's what Maria Solis is doing. She's harassing and terrorizing, and it's been another method of documenting that as well, within the confines, the context of while I'm on the job. All right, this is all documented, and it's also a matter of what is published. Not only because I'm capturing on video, but it's published because she's monitoring. So she is falsely and failing in her audible activity at trying to establish that we need to have a meeting February 28th at 10 a.m. about IRs. There's nothing intricate about IRs. I completed one again. Vanessa Dries, a third party, they come in and sign the paperwork. She's the one that calculates. There's nothing difficult about it. Talking about signing, you're talking about somebody who was failing at trying to, while monitoring the whole time, trying to manufacture some sort of issue. Oh, I'm getting all kind of complaints. So says the third party. All right. So says the third party. It matters not what they choose to do. Either way is going to result in federal prosecution. Maria Solis Alvarez. Speaker Companies, Todd Speaker, Alvarado Gardens. The people of the state of California understand they are third parties acting in concert with the Los Angeles Police Department, which continues to damn each and every one third party and that entity that's acting vicariously on behalf of the state. All right. This is the bigger picture at a macro level. Okay. Again, it's 8:59 a.m. and this is P.O.C. This is P.O.C.